Hi, welcome back. I'm Mrs. Lexner. I am one of your class advisors. Mr. Botticelli is the other class advisor. He couldn't be here today. We're very excited to have you back in person. We're going to completely encourage you to take advantage of being back here and get involved. And first thing I'm going to do is introduce your class officers who are going to encourage you and tell you different ways to get involved this year. Annie, you ready?
Hi, I'm Annie Henrich. I'm your sophomore class secretary, and I'm very excited to have a great year.
Hi, I'm Natalie Kassir, and I'm your sophomore class liaison.
Hello, I'm Evan Dorr, and I am the sophomore class treasurer.
Hi guys, I'm Will Roberts, and I will be your sophomore class vice president this year.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Fleming, and I'm the president of the sophomore class. I'm so excited that we are all back in school full time. We missed a lot of last year and not being together, so let's make up for the lost time. Get involved, be a homeroom representative, join a club, try a sport, and most importantly, support Staffcom. Bring your ideas and your questions to us. We can do this. Go OP, and always do stuff good. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the president of Staffcom, Kelly Barnes.
Hi, class of 2024. Happy second day of school. My name is Kelly Barnes, and I'm the Staffcom president for this year. I know you guys didn't have the most normal freshman year, and I know you missed a lot of opportunities getting involved and homecomings and all the good stuff that makes school fun. So I really want to encourage you to get involved this year, and I'm just going to kind of speak about how to get involved and why it's important. So you can do two things mainly. Become a homeroom rep. This will connect you directly with your class officers and not only keep yourself involved, but also your whole homeroom involved. It's a really great way to know what Staffcom is doing and what they're doing for your class. Also, you can join a club. Clubs are super fun and a great way to join together with a bunch of your friends and other people that have the same interests in you and connect with great teachers that are really fun. So there's a whole list of clubs on the agenda page. I think it's page 8. So check that out. Join a couple. I know you might not have last year at the end of the year just because they came up fast. So check that out. Pick a couple that you're interested in and grab a group of friends and head on over. Also, another great way to stay involved is to come to the Staffcom meetings. So they're every third Monday of the month.
Yeah,
so this
the home
one in
slices.
September is
The two home slices chilling.
What's this, the top
If you
is?
come, you'll just see what
Reveal
Staffcom
the
is
top.
doing for
Yeah,
the
like,
whole
there are like
school
a shit
and
ton
your
of ponytails
class.
back here.
So if you have ideas that
Yeah, there's like
One,
we aren't
two,
doing
ponytail.
ourselves,
Ponytails are
then
the actual
use your
thing.
voice. You have a
That's
voice
a hair
here at Orchard
tie.
Park, so it's really
A
important
ponytail is the
to
hair
use it.
itself.
And I know
Oh my
last year
God.
as freshmen, you might not have felt you had a voice, so really use that this year and be the change that you want to see in the school. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, new ideas, you can come see me in room 163. I'm always open to anything. Your class officers are also in room 163, so you can find us there. It's Mrs. Ramager's room. It's in the science wing. And yeah, that's basically it. Also, please follow Staffcom on our Instagram. It's at OPHS Staffcom. It's really great for some quick reminders. And actually the first event of the year, I guess, is the Bills Spirit Day tomorrow. So please wear Bills gear for the home opener on Sunday to show support for the Bills. And if you don't have any Bills gear, please go buy some. You have like 24 hours to do that. So thank you. Have a great rest of your day. And with that, I will leave you with Mr. Wolf.
Thanks, Kelly. Welcome back, sophomores. I guess the unofficial theme for this year is typical. We're going to try and make this school year as typical as possible. I think normal is pretty much out the window, and what was normal, I don't think will ever be normal again. but we're going to try and do everything as we typically would, including all the homecoming activities, and you'll hear about those things. But also Kelly mentioned clubs and activities. All those things we're going to try and do as most typical as possible. So this assembly is typical in the exception that you're not in the auditorium. We're not talking to you face to face when you're watching on TV. But it's one of those things where we're getting closer to what was typical. So with that, I do want to mention a few of the COVID things and updates. Again, everybody knows about masks. We have to wear masks in school when we're in the building. Please remember to wear the mask properly. I know it gets to be annoying and sometimes they slide, but make sure that you're pulling your mask up and keeping it up, especially during class changes and when you're in large areas with a lot of people, because the density of the building is a challenge at times. So please do your part, because really the goal is to be in school face to face every day of the week, all year. So that's one of the layered things that we can do, is make sure that we're following the mask protocols faithfully. Another thing that is new, and you got an email to your school email today, and you will get one every day to remind you. Every day, every student has to fill out, and employee has to fill out that health assessment. It's 4 quick questions. If you get an email, you click on it. You can also bookmark that link. That's your link for the year. You can use that link, put it in your notes, or put it wherever that you can remember where it is. And every day when you come in, click on that link, answer the 4 questions, and you're good to go. If you don't do that, we have to call you down to the nurse's office, ask you the questions, and take your temperature. So unfortunately, that happened for 300 kids yesterday. Please take the time to do that every day. Your parents get the email, you get the email. So please just follow through on that, because it just becomes a pain in the neck for everybody. You don't want to get called out of class, and we don't want to have to be chasing people. So thank you for that. Other parts of the COVID protocols is, last year, you remember when we were in hybrid, we were cleaning tabletops and desktops after every class. We no longer need to do that. The building is sanitized at night, every night. But please do your part to keep the building clean. Don't leave garbage in the classroom. Don't leave garbage in the hallways. Don't just drop the garbage. Take care of yourself. Continue to wash your hands like you have been. There's hand sanitizers all over the building to keep sanitizing your hands. Do what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and safe, and keep everybody else in the building healthy and safe. The last thing I want to touch on is the Dignity for All Students Act, and that's something that we talk about every year. There are ways to report issues if you're involved in an issue, or if you see an issue happening through the district website, but you can also report it face-to-face to anybody in the House office or in my office. I guess the warning that I would give people is treat each other with respect. Anytime that you do or say something, only say it if that's what you would want someone to say to you. And remember that social media is really important on that. And so you guys traditionally have done a great job of controlling yourselves and not doing things on social media or in person. So please continue to do that. But understand that if there are things that are happening on social media, that can have an impact in school, and there could be school discipline based on the behavior on social media. Really all I want to say about that, like I said, generally we do a great job of that. You guys treat each other with respect, and that's just something that needs to continue throughout the day and then throughout the evening time as well. So that's all I really have for you, other than welcome back. We're looking forward to a really, really good year. Do your part and be a part of the school community and be a great citizen. Have a great year, sophomores. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mr. Hafner, the House 1 principal.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Hello, everyone, and welcome back, sophomores. My name is Mr. Hafner, and I am the House 1 principal. Today, I'm just going to be talking to you a little bit about attendance and also our dress code. So I'm going to start off with attendance. This is maybe new to you just because you guys didn't have the most normal year last year, so this will be hopefully your first full year in school every day. So I'm going to be looking at page 13 with regard to attendance, and then when we move to dress code, we're going to be on page 24. So first off, attendance. So bonus for everybody this year because we're back in school every day. So let's take advantage of that. Let's come to school every day. There is a direct correlation between your attendance and grades. So the more you attend, the higher grades tend to be. We need to be in class to learn the material. Very difficult to learn when we're not sitting in that classroom with that teacher in front of us. So, but we know that there's reasons why we have to be absent. or tardy or leave school early, for all of those things. So if you have to come in late, or if you have to leave early, or if you're absent because you're sick, or for whatever reason, you need to have a written note from your parent. So if you are tardy or have to leave school early, that note should come in with you. As you arrive tardy, or if you come in on time but have to leave early, you can give that note to Miss Hollis in the front foyer, the Baker entrance foyer. She is, as you walk in, to the right. So Miss Hollis takes care of all of our attendance notes. So if you're coming in late, you need a note from your parent. And if you're leaving early on a given day, you need a note from your parent. If you're absent on the day that you return, you should be handing in a note to Mrs. Hollis in the front foyer. So make sure that if you're absent, your parent writes a note with your excuse, and you provide that note to Miss Hollis. If you have extended absences, so if there are I should say excessive, not extended, but excessive absences, there is a chance that you could get a attendance referral. Attendance referrals come from your teachers, and if you end up with too many absences, you could end up not gaining credit for that class. So for semester courses, that's 12 absences, and for full year courses, it's 20 absences. So once you reach that 12 or 20 in a given year, you could be denied credit. So keep that in mind if you do end up having some excessive absences for whatever reason, that is a potential. And so we want to try to avoid those types of situations, especially since those absences will probably end up leading to potentially not being able to pass that course based on lack of material. Okay, so that's it for attendance. So I'm going to move to page 24 for dress code. For dress code, we just want to make sure that everybody is dressing in a modest manner. So what that means is shorts and skirts, you want to make sure that they're at a reasonable length. We don't have an actual length that we provide you with. It's not fingertips anymore, but we want to make sure that that you're covered appropriately. Okay, with shirts, there are no midriffs that should be showing. So shirts should be appropriate with no midriff showing. Any shirt that you're wearing, or shorts or earrings or socks that are shown, you want to make sure that you do not have anything vulgar on it, anything depicting drugs and alcohol, anything depicting weapons. We want to make sure that our shirts are appropriate and not offensive to people that are around. We do have a hat rule, so no hats. So make sure that when you enter a building that you take your hat off. So no headgear, so make sure, again, no hats. So the basics for our dress code: dress modest. We should be like a business casual type of dress. No vulgarities or depictions of drugs, alcohol, weapons on our shirts. Modest length for shorts, and no midriff showing. Those are the basics. Okay, if you have any questions, you can obviously stop down to House 1 office and find out more if you need to. Everything that I've talked about is located in your student handbook or student agenda, so take a look at that. And I'll end with welcome back. We're looking forward to a great year, so enjoy your first week here and enjoy the rest of the year, sophomores. Thank you. And with that, I leave you with Mr. Lynch, our House 2 principal.
Thank you, Mr. Hafner. Good morning, sophomore class. I have I get to come in here and talk to you guys about discipline, eligibility, and then some safety drills and things like that. I like to say that we have a pretty rigid discipline process. So if you're in the classroom, your teachers ask you to do something, if a staff member asks you to do something, my suggestion to everybody is always just do it, even if you don't like it. We can talk about it later on if there's issues with it. But always do as the adult asks in the room. It just makes the process a little bit easier. That being said, you have a couple different levels of consequences in the school for doing things that you shouldn't. The first is just a teacher or staff member consequence. If they ask you to stay after school, stay after class, those are easy ones. Just do it. Talk about what the issues are. It's always better to talk about it and know what the issues are before you get in deeper. As far as that goes, the next step of the teacher or the staff member would be to write a written warning. The written warning would be something that comes down to your house office. They would call you in, you would chat about it, your parents find out about it, and there's a consequence. Usually it's about an hour after school. If you do get detentions after school, if you get a 1 hour detention, it's from 2 to 3. If you decide to skip it, that detention will double. So you'll have 2 hours after school then, and 2 can become 4. So you can get a lot more hours very quickly. So whatever that problem was that you had, that 30 seconds can turn into a lot of time and consequence after school. So those are warnings. Next level would be a referral. If you get several warnings, it could turn into a referral, or depending on what you did, it could be a referral right at the start. We have 5 levels of referrals, so you basically get 5 chances. The first referral usually ends up becoming a 3-hour detention after school. Depends on what actually is done. If you get in a fight, obviously there's going to be a more severe penalty than 3 hours after school. But typically, level 1 offense, it's 3 hours after school, and it progressively gets worse from there. It can go to 2 or 3 hours. It can go to suspension, parent conferences, all the things you really don't want to get to. Level 5 would be a superintendent hearing. So then he gets involved and he decides what the consequences are. So that's basically our discipline process. If you have questions about it, you can go to your house offices and they can guide you in the right direction. Some of the other things to think about that just have a black and white consequence, like a vape is 3 hours after school and a referral. Masks, cell phones, you'll get warned for a mask to pull it up. If the teacher's asking you 3 or 4 days in a row to pull it up, they're probably going to send you to the house office. We're going to have a chat about it. It'll be documented so we know that we've had that chat. So if it happens again, then it could turn from a warning into a referral. So just things to think about. Eligibility meaning can you participate in clubs, activities, athletics, music, all the after-school activities. One thing we have to remember is that we're here to be students first. All that other stuff makes this culture great, but we have to keep our grades up. We have to be doing our projects, studying for our exams, all that stuff, because without that stuff, we're not going to be able to do the stuff after school. Your teacher or staff member has the opportunity to talk to your coaches or your advisors and let them know how you're doing in class. If you're not putting forth the effort, then you're probably not going to participate in those activities. So something to think about. You can talk to your teachers, talk to your coaches and advisors, and let them know where you're at. Safety drills, just like years in the past, we're going to do 6 fire drills that are state mandated, 6 fire drills in the fall and 2 in the spring. Make sure you follow your teacher out the correct door. They have to take attendance for you when you get outside. So make sure you stay with them, go to the designated spot, and when we allow you back in, you return to your classroom as quickly and quietly as possible. Lockdown drills. We'll be doing 4 lockdown drills. We're going to do it the same way as last year. You're going to stay in your seats as opposed to going to the blind corner. The blind corner is usually the corner opposite the door to enter the classroom. Your teachers will explain that to you, and as long as it's a drill, you're going to stay in your seats. In the event of an actual emergency, you will then proceed to the blind corner. We'll do 4 of those this year. The first one probably being in the next week or so in the lunchroom. So it won't be in the classroom and it won't be announced. Each lunch period will we'll talk to you guys about that while you're there. The last thing we need to mention is the shelter in place. If you hear over the loudspeaker, we're now in shelter in place. Basically means you can't be in the hallways. You have to stay in your classroom. The doors will be locked just like a lockdown, but everything inside the classroom is a normal class activity. Teachers are teaching, students are working, and that usually happens if something in the hallway is going on and we can't have people passing through. There's a spill or something like that. We also put you in a shelter in place after a lockdown, just so everybody stays put, so we can get all the doors unlocked in the building. If you have any questions about anything like that I've talked about, you can always go to your house office, ask the secretary, ask myself, or one of the other house principals. With that, we hope you have a great sophomore year, and I will introduce Dr. Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. I'm Dr. Fisher, the House 3 principal. Few things to share with you this morning regarding medications, technology use, and cell phones. So one of the reasons that we're all going into such detail this morning with you on this is because your introduction, this meeting for you last year was virtually. You watched a video, or maybe some of you didn't watch a video, so that's why we're spending a little extra time this year making sure that some of the highlights from the student handbook are covered in a little more detail. So my first topic is medications. This is a very important topic because students sometimes don't think of things like aspirin or multivitamins or supplements or something like that as medications. And it's critical that no one in the building have any sort of medication on their person or in their bag or in their locker or a sports bag or something like that, ever. All medications of any kind need to be in the nurse's office and on file with the nurse for distribution. There are very few exceptions, like EpiPens or things along those lines for allergic reactions where students can carry those things and self-administer. But other than that, everything should be on file in the nurse's office and only brought to the nurse by mom, dad, parent, or guardian. So if you are taking a medication, it's not something that you can bring into the building and deliver to the nurse yourself and say, hey, I'm supposed to take this every day after lunch. That's something that mom, dad, parent, or guardian has to handle. And that's been that way, obviously, all the way through elementary and middle school and now in high school, so that should be pretty self-explanatory. But please make sure, even things all the way down to like multivitamins and aspirin, and things like that that you might consider no big deal, that counts. You cannot have that on your person, in your backpack, locker, anything like that at all while you're here at school. Or it's possible that should you be found in possession of that, it could be considered a drug offense, which is a suspension, and there's all kinds of things that go along with that. So please make sure you're observing that rule. Also, district technology. There's something in your handbook called an acceptable use policy. You need to pay attention to that. Whether or not you're on a district-issued Chromebook, laptop, or you're on our network or a calculator, that technology is supposed to be used for an educational purpose only. Please keep that in mind. While you're on the district-issued Chromebook at home on your Wi-Fi network, you're still using district technology, and everything that you do on that device can be tracked. So please make sure that you are using your district technology for only school-related reasons. Same thing, again, goes for the network here. If you're on our network here, but you're on it with your own personal device, again, you should only be doing school-appropriate things with district technology and equipment. So keep that in mind. All of that can be monitored. Last thing, cell phones and earbuds. Cell phones here at the high school should be off and away all day. It's my little catchphrase. The same thing goes for earbuds. You should not have it on your person. You should not be checking it during class or running to the bathroom to answer a call or send a text or whatever. It should be off and away all day. If you have to make a call, come to your house office. Ask the house secretary, hey, can I just call my mom real quick? They'll probably tell you to use the office phone instead of pulling your cell phone out, but at least you're in a safer position to do that in that space as opposed to just trying to find a quiet corner in the building. Whatever you do, don't do that. The phone should be off and away all day. Now, should you be asked by an adult, because they see you using your phone, to turn the phone over, let me explain this process. So since it's supposed to be off and away all day and the adults in the building are going to enforce that rule, they've been directed to ask you for your phone, and that phone, as long as it's the first time that you've had a cell phone infraction, this is considered a warning. The phone, along with your student ID, go to the house office. Then you'll end up having a conversation with the house principal about the cell phone infraction, and then mom, dad, parent, guardian need to come into the school building and pick up the cell phone. We do not give it back to the student on that first time. Then every infraction thereafter, if there are more, you could be escalating up the discipline process that Mr. Lynch just described. So please be mindful that if an adult asks you for the phone, that it's their perception that you're breaking the cell phone rule. In that moment is not the time to argue with them about why you have it out. Turn over your phone and your ID, and then we, the house principals, and you can work through what was the reason for that. So we know that grandparents unexpectedly come in from out of town, and your parents are very excited to let you know that, and you're checking your phone. We understand that, but there's still a rule in school, and that rule needs to be followed. The same thing goes for earbuds. You should not have them in your ears at any point unless you're directed to do so by a teacher. So sometimes, like in a world language classroom or another class, you might be watching a video or doing an exercise where you need to have those in there. That's fine because a staff member directed you to do that. But other than that, your cell phone and earbuds should be off and away all day. That goes for wired or wireless, it doesn't matter. You should not have them in unless a staff member directs you to do so. And that's all I have to share so far this morning. With that, I'll turn it over to Mrs. Corrales so she can speak with you about the Humanitarian Awards and NHS.
Good morning. Welcome back, sophomores. I'm briefly going to tell you about a program we have at the high school that you should be aware of. It's called the Humanitarian Distinction Program, where we encourage students to volunteer and give back to our community and Buffalo at large for those people that are disadvantaged. And we have a way of tracking. If you would like to get involved with this program, your senior year, we will then recognize you. If you have 200 logged hours, you will be gold. If you have 100, you will be a silver. If you have 50, you will be a bronze. And you need to track those and find the rules and regulations on the Orchard Park website under school counseling. The other thing I wanted to tell you about is National Honor Society, which you'll get your invitation next year. You also have to log your hours using a form on the NHS website, which can be found on Orchard Park District website. If you have any questions, I'm Mrs. Corrales in room 257. Come see me, come look at those websites, and I hope to see you do some community service for the next 3 years. I am going to turn it over to Mr. Biondo right now.
Thank you very much, Ms. Corrales. My name is Mr. Biondo. Some of you know me. Some of you were in school last year may not know me. I'm the co-coordinator for student activities. Got a couple of announcements about student activities, and that is first, homecoming events. There's going to be a pep rally, powder puff, and parade and carnival will all occur this year, Friday, September 24th and Saturday, September 25th. The pep rally and powder puff game will be held at the stadium, and the ticket must be purchased. The other events are free, so you have to have a ticket for powder puff. Please listen to the morning announcements to check your school email for more information about the homecoming. The last thing that I'm going to tell you is that student IDs at Orchard Park High School are very, very important. You need your student ID to check out library books, check in your dances, and all these other fun things, so make sure that you have a student ID. If you were absent yesterday for whatever reason, my classes are all fogged up, if you were absent from school for any other reason yesterday, make sure if you have an open period, go down to the gym and get your photo ID photo taken. The other thing that I want to tell you about is get involved. There's plenty of scholarship money and things like that to be had, and I know maybe you're not worried about it as sophomores now, but you will be when you're a senior and you're looking at colleges. So I suggest that you people and all sophomores get involved in school. There's plenty of clubs. You don't have to be an athlete or a musician. There's plenty of other activities and clubs like student government. I know your class officers are walking around the homerooms asking for homeroom reps. Being a homeroom rep is a great way to get involved. I had a daughter who went to this school and she got involved and had a great experience. And sometimes there's money at the end of the road when you're a senior. That being said, if you have any questions about clubs and things like that, you can either see me or Miss Stady in room 162. And I'm the last person to talk, so I am supposed to tell you when the bell rings, move to first period. Have a great day, sophomores. Have a great year, sophomores.